Hi all. So today we are going to discuss about the operating system services, goal, modes and its structure. So first let us check what are the OS services goals. The first and most important goal is the perfection and correctness during a service. So So, what are the resources of a system? The main resources of a system are processor, which is a main part of the system. Next, memory, I/O. Then the devices, virtual devices which are connected to the system timer, software timers. Next, keypad, display, printer, and other such resources. So let's check what are the OS service goals. So first one is the facilitating easy sharing of the resources as per schedule and allocation. That means lot of resources are inside the system. So OS will provide easy sharing of the resources as per schedule and allocations. No processing task or thread uses any resources until it have been allocated by the OS at a given instance, which is lot of tasks and threads are using many resources. They are they can use the resources until it is allocated by the OS. So next goal is facilitating easy implementation of the application program with the given system hardware through the system software. So there are many application program running inside your OS. We have to implement such application programs using the specific given system hardware and through the system software. Third goal is optimally scheduling the processes on one by providing an appropriate context switching mechanism. So context switching mechanism is already I have taught you in the previous classes. That means switching between the task, that is called context switching. So OS should provide a scheduling for the process between context switching. So fourth one is maximizing the system performance to let different processes share the resources most efficiently with protection and without any security breach. That means I've already said that there are many processes and resources. So the system have to lead with the different processes and different resources. We have to maximize the system performance in order to increase the efficiency and protection. That should be done with the most efficient manner and protection, and it shouldn't have any security problems. So the fifth goal is providing management functions for the processes, memory, file, physical and virtual devices, and IOs, and for other functions for which it is designed. So the OS has to manage all these processes, memory, file, and other virtual devices. So the sixth one is providing management and organization functions for the iOS devices, which is similar to the previous goal. That means management function. Next one, providing interoperability of the application on different networks. That means we have to run the particular application on different networks. The OS has to provide the interoperability feature on the application on different networks. Next is providing a common set of interfaces that integrates various devices and applications to standard and open system. That is, it should provide a common interface. The applications which are running in different platforms should have a common set of interface that can integrate the different devices and applications which are connected to our system, and we can run that particular devices or applications on open systems also. So next is providing easy interfacing and management functions for the network protocols and network. So our OS has to perform easy interfacing, that means it has to be user friendly, and management functions for the network protocols and network. That means our OS has to perform in different network protocols and network. Next is providing portability of the application on different hardware configurations. So there are different hardware configuration installed inside our OS, installed inside our system. So OS have to provide the portability of the application which is running on different hardware configurations. Next is the very important part, that is user and supervisory mode structures. So there are two modes inside our system, inside our OS, which is user mode and supervisory mode. So processor in the system running in two modes. First of all, there is a clock which is inside our system, which is called the system clock, and at each clock tick in the system clock, there is an interrupt occurs, and with each system interrupt, the system will automatically updates. That means the system contacts the switch to the supervisory mode from user mode. That means at each clock tick there is a interrupt occur. At each interrupt occurs, the system will transfer to the supervisory mode from the user mode. So after completing the supervisory functions, then the system context switches back to the user mode. This is how it is switching from the user mode to the supervisory mode, and how it come back from supervisory mode to the user mode. So in the user mode, user processes, that means permitted to run and use only a subset of functions and instructions, which is very important. That means in the user mode, the system has the permission to run only a subset of function. That means a very small part of the function and instructions are running in the user mode. So use of OS functions in the user mode, either, that means what are the OS function performed in the user mode are either by sending a message to the waiting process associated in the OS kernel space, or by the system call. That means in the user mode, the OS can send a message to the waiting process by a system call. Next is the use of hardware resources including memory is not permitted without OS making the call to the OS functions called system call. That means there are some hardware resources which is the memory is also included inside the hardware resources, which is not permitted without OS making the call to the OS functions. That means without the OS functions, the OS can't use such resources, which includes memory. So such type of call is called a system call. So user function call, which is not a, that is another call, that is user function call, which is not permitted to read and write in the protected memory, which is also very important difference between the user mode and the supervisory mode. That means in the user mode, user function code is not allowed to read and write in the protected memory to the OS functions, data stack and heap. So next is what is kernel space. Kernel space means the protected memory space. The protected memory space is called the kernel space. So hence the execution of user function calls is slower than the execution of OS function calls due to the need to spend in first checking the access permission. So in the user mode, you have to check the access permissions. So here the user mode function calls is slower. Why it is slower? Because first, in order to access certain applications, we have to first check the access permission to the protected space. Only after getting the permission, we can access the resources. So the user function calls is always slower than the system calls. Next is the supervisory mode. So supervisory mode is another called kernel mode. So here OS runs in protected mode. The privileged functions and instructions in protected mode, that are the privileged ones, and the OS is only one permitted to access the hardware resources and protected area memory. So here when it runs in the protected mode, the privileged functions and instructions, which are the privileged one in OS, which is, they can be permitted to access the hardware resources. Next is kernel space functions and processes execute faster than the. So here, as compared to the user mode, here the functions and processes are executed faster because it doesn't need the permission to access that protected memory. So once a system call is permitted to read, so once a system call is permitted to read and write in the protected memory allotted to the, so it is very much faster as compared to the user mode. So next is the structure. So our OS is having a top to down structural layers. So these are the layers. First one is the application, software application programming interface, that we are actually communicating with the APIs. Next is the system software other than the one provided at the OS. Next is OS interface, OS, hardware OS interface, and the hardware. So OS is actually in middle layer in between the application software and the system hardwares. So next is kernel services in the OS. What are the services of kernel in an OS? So first one is, what are the components of a kernel? Process, memory, and IO managers. Process, memory, and IO managers are the essential components of a kernel. So kernel may include certain files, devices, management functions. So kernel may include, so files, devices, and management functions. So kernel in certain OSs without file and device management function as part of the kernel in the given OS, and any other needed functions other than process, memory, and IO device managers, which are essential components of a kernel, are not provided for at the kernel. So these are the process management kernel service. These are the kernel services. First one is the creation or deletion of the process. These are the kernel services. Next is process structure maintenance, processing resource requests. Next is the scheduling process. Scheduling process here comes under the scheduling algorithms. Next is the inter-process communications, which is already studied. Next is the allocation and reallocation of the task. So these are the kernel services, that is allocation and deallocation between the task, ISRs, and OS functions. These are also kernel services in an OS: file management, device drivers, IO management, ISR, interrupt control mechanism, which are all the kernel services in an OS. Okay, thank you.